Hi, it's Ollie, the creator of the I Will Teach You a Language blog, and in this short video I'm going to show you one deceptively simple technique for learning the vocabulary you need in a foreign language much more easily and much faster. But first, a question. Have you ever wondered how much more fluent you could become in your target language if you simply knew more words? Well, the truth of the matter is that learning enough vocabulary is the single biggest thing standing in the way of learning to speak another language well. And yet, people really struggle with it. In fact, trying to memorize words and then not forget them drives most people absolutely crazy. I know it did to me. I remember very clearly trying to learn my first words in French by sitting in my bedroom in North London and reading vocabulary lists. Now, I thought I knew those words, but then when I came to actually speak the language with a real person, I'd just forget everything, and it was a real pain. Now I speak 7 foreign languages, which I've learned all myself as an adult. And in order to learn this many languages, I've had to memorize huge quantities of vocabulary. And you simply can't do that unless you have a really solid system that actually works. Now, if you've been finding it difficult to remember words, you shouldn't feel bad. It's not your fault, because very few people actually know how to do this well. And surprisingly, it's not actually all that hard. Trust me, if I can learn my Arabic vocabulary whilst sitting in a rooftop bar overlooking the Nile, well, you can do it too. A few simple tweaks to what you're already doing can make a powerful difference in your ability not only to remember words, but to actually use them. And right now, I want to share with you the most effective one of all. Now, you've probably heard the expression context is king before. Well, nowhere is that more true than in language learning. And the key to exploiting this to learn vocabulary faster and better is this. Stop learning words altogether. That's right, no more words. Instead, you need to learn not words, but complete phrases. So let's look at an example of what this means in practice. And to do this, I'm going to need to teach you a little bit of French. Let's imagine you're reading a book or watching a movie in French and you come across the phrase "Je n'ai pas le temps," which means I don't have time in English. Now, if the word temps is new for you, then what you would most likely do is write down that word temps in your notebook. Later, when you come to revise, you'll find that word there and you'll try to learn that word. Now, this is fine and it's certainly better than nothing, but here's what I do. Instead of writing down that word, temps, I'll write down the whole phrase, je n'ai pas le temps. When I come to review my notes later on, I'll test myself on the whole phrase. Now here's why this works. The problem with learning lots of single words is that you're relying on your brain to just remember a single word. It's like trying to remember an important date in history without knowing what actually happened on that day. There's no help and there's no support for your memory. But as it happens, learning a complete phrase is usually not much more difficult than learning a single word, because you probably know lots of the other words in the phrase already. Now, although this seems a little counterintuitive, what happens is that the context, the other words in the phrase, act as a kind of anchor that makes your new word much more meaningful. When your vocabulary is more meaningful, you don't forget it. And by not forgetting it, well, this is the key to growing a huge vocabulary in no time. But that's not all. The best part of all this is that by focusing on learning complete phrases, you're training yourself to speak in longer sentences, and you'll find yourself much more fluent when you come to actually speak with people. You'll start to find that longer, more fluent sentences roll off your tongue because, well, that's what you've been doing all along. So what I want you to do from now on is to start noting down new vocabulary in complete phrases rather than single words. And you'll start to see your vocabulary growing at rates that you just won't believe. So this is one of the most simple but powerful ways I've discovered to not only learn a lot of new words and not forget them, but to feed that into speaking my target language more fluently right from the start. So you're probably wondering how to learn more about this, and I've made it as easy as possible for you. Make Words Stick is a short, actionable guide that walks you through my complete system for learning vocabulary in a foreign language. Here's what's on the inside. So in part 1 we look at spaced repetition, which is the science behind how you remember things. We go on to look at how to get started quickly with flashcards and exactly how to study so that the words and phrases you want to learn are accessible to you in conversations. Part 2 is the cool bit. It's the quick start guide. I show you step by step exactly which software to use and exactly how to get it set up so you can start learning right away. By learning the strategies in this guide, you'll be setting yourself up for success and reaching fluency in the shortest possible time. Literally years faster than other less sophisticated language learners who rely on ineffective textbooks and expensive classes to learn about the language, but never learn the fast way to learn it. So what's the cost of the guide? $7. That's right, only $7. And you can click the button beneath this video right now to order your copy. One last thing. I'm so confident of what the guide will do for you and your language learning that I'd like you to try out the guide with no risk attached. If at any point within the next 12 months, that's 1 whole year, you don't feel you've got enough value from the guide or you're not satisfied for whatever reason, simply send me an email and I'll refund your money right away. No hassle, no questions asked, and you can even keep your copy of the guide. Does that sound fair? If so, click the button below to order your copy right now. Don't be one of those people who falls into the someday maybe trap. Time passes very quickly when you're learning a foreign language. Trust me, I know. And if you're not careful, you can easily find yourself looking back and realizing you've let another year go by and you still can't hold a confident conversation. And think of all the vocabulary you can learn in a year if you really know how. Think how much more fluent you will become with hundreds more words and phrases at your disposal. How will your friendships, relationships, and life plans change when you can confidently speak in another language without being lost for words? It's all there for the taking, and your first step is to pick up a copy of the Make Words Stick guide and start growing your vocabulary today. So click the button below and let's get started.